Alright, this is kind of an intro video for 6.2 where we're having to order percents, decimals, and fractions, and if you're not comfortable with converting any of these into each other, then this is definitely the video for you. I myself like to work with decimals, convert everything into decimals, but some people like percentages, some people like to stay with fractions, so as you sit here and you go through this video, figure out what way makes most sense for you and just stick with it because that's what works best for you. But we will go ahead and we will talk about some of these other things real quick. So, anytime you need to turn a fraction into a decimal, you have to take the top number and divide it by the bottom number. I'll say it again. You have to take the top number and divide it by a numerator divided by the denominator. So, over here, I have a couple of examples of that. So, right here. So, I took 1 divided by 2, got 0.5. 3 divided by 5 is 0.6. 7 divided by 12 is going to be 0.58 with 3 repeating. I would probably just leave that at, 0.58, not worry about the 3's. And then 9 over 10 is 9 over 100 is 9 divided by 100, which equals into 0.09. And if you're not sure about that, go ahead and take your calculator out and just practice with that real quick, so that way you can get comfortable. It's very important that you are good with this. So, now if you watched my last video in regards to how to turn a percent into a decimal, we talked about how you take the decimal point and you move it over 2 times to the left. So like Beyonce, to the left, everything you own in a box to the left. So just do that. So right here, 5% turns into 0.05. 15% turns into 0.15. 23% turns into 0.23%. And 97% turns into 0.97%. Or sorry, 0.97. No percent. I don't have to really turn these into decimals because they're already decimals, so that makes my life easier. Now, so that was turning everything here into a decimal, so decimals. Alright, now, if I wanted to turn everything into a percent, and if you need to go back to the other video, that's totally fine. But what we do with percents is we take this decimal point and we move it over to the right 2 times. Now, in the case of 0.5, there's nothing here, so I would add a 0 when I move the decimal point. So this would turn into 50%, like so. Same thing for 0.6, nothing here, move it over twice, that turns into 60%. And right here, I would move this over twice, this would turn into 58.3 repeating percent. Some people don't like to work with the repeating 3, they usually drop it. If you decide to do that, that's fine, unless the directions tell you otherwise. Make sure you always pay attention to the directions. So right here, we're going to go ahead and move this over 2 times. That turns into, you guessed it, 9%. So let's go ahead and do that real quick down here. If you want to try to do the rest of these on your own, go ahead and pause the video and do that now. So if you guessed that this was 5%, you were right. Well done. If you guessed that this was 15%, well done. 23%. And 97%. And in case you're struggling trying to figure out how I got those so quickly, they're right over here. Alright, so right here, 19%. Well done. 37%. And 92%. Well done. So, now the last thing that we need to do is turn these into fractions. So, the easiest thing to do right off the bat is to put that number over 100, because remember that percentages are numbers over 100. I'll say it again. Percentages are numbers over 100. So, for example, this would turn into 50 over 100. This would turn into 60 over 100. This would turn into 58.3 repeating over 100. And then this would turn 9 over 100. So far so good, right? So go ahead, pause the video, and convert the rest of these. Alright, so here it's going to be 5 over 100, 15 over 100, 23 over 100, 97 over 100. And I know I write my fractions kind of like at a slant. It's what's comfortable for me. You guys will probably see it more like, more strict with like 5 over 100, and that's totally fine. Anyway, but I just like slants. That's just how I am. So 19 over 100, 37 over 100, and dogs barking in the background, 92 over 100. So again, remember that percents are numbers that are over 100. Now, the trick that you might find out later is that you actually do have to reduce these a lot of times. So, for example, if I had to reduce 50 over 100, that would turn into 1 over 2. Why is it 1 over 2? Because 50 fits into itself once and it fits into 100 2 times. So again, let's take a look here. When you have to reduce, and I'll do a separate video for this, but when you reduce, you guys need to make sure that you are finding numbers that are in common with these ones. So for example, 60 and 100 have 20 in common, so that would turn into 3 over 5. And then I already know that this is 7 over 12, and that this is going to be still 9 over 100, because there are no numbers that 9 have in common and 100 have in common. So I want you guys to go ahead and do the rest of these on your own, and then show them to me if you're actually watching the video, and then I'll give you 5 points extra credit.